Oh, he's here. Oh, he actually showed up. Oh, wow! Look, it's Chris Sims. Chris Sims is here. Listen, you're not gonna get what you think you're gonna get right now. I'm gonna talk about something red, but it's not the Red Sox. I want to talk to you about the Red River Showdown. It is Texas, it's Oklahoma, and there's an anniversary. It's a 20-year anniversary of a pretty iconic play in college football. Do we have some stuff on this, Gary? Do we have some pictures? What we got? Oh man, that's that's Chris Sims, and I don't know what you're saying to the other Roy Williams right there. The Roy Williams who hit you from Oklahoma. Then there's the Roy Williams, your receiver from Texas. What's up with that hit? And just talk about it. Seriously, it's one of the great rivalries in college football. I love it. I love the name, and I love some of the big plays that have happened there. But what are some of your memories of that play, which everybody remembers 20 years ago?
Well, yeah. I mean, first off, the rivalry is special. To your point, it really is. I would tell any sports fan, any real football fan, like that's one game you got to go experience once in your life, just because the stadium is split down the 50-yard line. So on one side of the field, you could be in a home game and then drive down to the other side of the field and get in the red zone, and all of a sudden it's so loud, your players can't hear you, and you got to do silent snap count and signals because it's a totally different atmosphere. So it's really cool with that. And of course, the Texas State Fair is going on outside. Pretty awesome spectacle. That game itself right there, that was my junior year. My sophomore year, I played, but I didn't get in until the game was 28-0. So this was my first start. And of course, I think we were 1 and they were 2 that year, or maybe we were 2 and they were 3. It was something like that. I forget. But they had our number, and that play specifically, just to that, they called the same blitz earlier in the fourth quarter, and there Roy Williams jumped just like you saw right there, and I made a miss and ran for like 25 yards up the middle. So now here we are, and I believe it was like 7-3. It was a defensive struggle this game, and we're backed up on our own 4 or 5 yard line, and here's the tragedy of it, all right, still that like haunts me. Of course, I don't like that I got hit and the ball flew up in the air and ended up being an interception. But I had my Roy Williams one-on-one with a little room as I was throwing it. And I remember as I was getting ready to throw it, I go, ooh, man, if I get this ball to him in a hurry, he's going to have a chance to make something happen and make this one guy miss, and you better watch out, because our Roy Williams is a freak show too. But yeah, that's one I'll never live down. And, honestly, yeah, it stunk at the time, but it was such a great rivalry. It was a big moment in college sports. And here's the last tidbit. I went to Oklahoma once and went in their Football Hall of Fame. Man, they got more pictures of me than they do the rest of the players on the damn Oklahoma history in that damn place. So I guess that's not such a bad thing.
I'm honored. I'm honored that you all are really, that think of me that highly, where you put my pictures in your Hall of Fame.
Exactly. Exactly.
It didn't bother you though, did it? Did it bother you?
No, as far as that, no, that did not bother me. It did not bother me at all. Hey, sometimes the way the Texas fans have treated me, that still bothers me. I'm not going to lie. Like, that bothers me more than, the Oklahoma fans, they should, razz me and get after me a little bit. But, yeah, all in all, still, a great rivalry, and it was unlike anything I ever was a part of. And like I said, I think any real sports fan or football fan needs to go and see that one.
All right, let's talk about some great rivalries and great games. Lots of those in the NFL. But I want to talk about a historic franchise that's not really playing at that high level. So we're not talking about the '85 Bears. We're talking about the 2021 Bears. And there was some back and forth. I can't wait to hear your take on it. Back and forth. All right, Justin Fields, we're going to go in there, but Andy Dalton's still our starter. Then Fields plays well. Well, we'll see what's happening with Andy. Now Matt Nagy comes out and says Justin Fields is our starter. So just help me make sense of this swirling information coming out of Chicago with Justin Fields.
Well, I listen, I guess in their heart of hearts, they wanted to let Justin Fields sit out the year like Patrick Mahomes did when Matt Nagy was the offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs. I take them at their word for that. I didn't understand that. Again, I know every circumstance is different, but I'm the believer of get them out there, get them playing, learn the NFL life, what it's like to play in the NFL. It's different than the college game. Get some positives you build on. You're going to take your lumps, but you also really build on those as well. And man, a lot of people think I'm a Justin Fields hater because I ranked him the number 5 quarterback in the draft and all that. First off, I'm not a hater with anything. I really like the guy, the person. I see talent. Did I have some concerns? Sure. But man, he played awesome last week. There's no doubt about it. And I don't think there should be, any back and forth. And I'm glad they finally went ahead and just said Justin Fields should be the starter. First off, what I've been saying all along since training camp is I think their best possible way to win as a football team would be Justin Fields' type of football, style of football. And that's like what we saw from them last week. Run the ball underneath the center, stay patient with that, play action passes, few bootlegs. So, what I've said to a few people, look, almost every big throw he made in the game is a play action pass, just like you see here last week. Their offensive line is more talented than people give it credit for. They can move people in the run game, and they should be able to play off that. And then you get like this, what you see, one-on-one matchups outside. And Mooney can fly. He has superstar speed. And of course, Allen Robinson can get open in one-on-one coverage against anybody in football too. So you run the ball, you get those matchups on the outside. Throwing the ball outside is very easy for rookie quarterbacks to read, right? There's not all the stuff going on in the middle. You don't have to worry about fitting it into a tight window, ball getting tipped, intercepted. Oh, I didn't see this guy because they changed the coverage at the last second. So I was just glad to see them play the appropriate way of football, Michael Holley. And to me, they should play offense like the Cleveland Browns and then sprinkle in a few Lamar Jackson run plays, and they'll be a pain in the butt to beat, along with what we know is a pretty damn good defense there in Chicago.
And by the way, I'm so glad you said you're not a hater on anything. I appreciate that about you. Seriously, I told you that the other night, which we'll get to eventually. I said, man, you always keep it 100. No matter what, even if it's for your side or against your side. I like that. I want to ask you this from just using your insight, player perspective. I have 2 player perspective questions for you. One is in Jacksonville. You're Trevor Lawrence, young quarterback. You come into the league, and what you see is a circus already. They're 4 games in, and it is a straight-up circus with the Jacksonville Jaguars. This didn't even happen in college for Trevor Lawrence. Clemson was more pro-ready than Jacksonville was for him. What do you think the players are saying? I know what Urban said the players are saying to him, his leadership council, but what do you think the locker room talk is about their record and some of the actions of their head coach?
Well, I would think that they were already questioning some things there in Jacksonville. Of course, it's a college coach who seems to be, adjusting to NFL life. You can't treat players like college football players. You got grown men in there who got children or in their 30s, been around the NFL certainly longer than Urban Meyer has been. So, you got to have just an understanding of like the right touch as far as an NFL football player. In college, you can be a dictator, and it's all about, your ability to communicate and schmooze parents to get kids to come there and schmooze the kid to get them there. And then when you're at a place like Ohio State or Florida, of course, your team is more talented than the rest, of the teams you're playing 10 out of 12 games a year or 12 out of 14 games a year, however many you play. So that's where it's different. And I think between, the strength coach being hired in the spring and that little issue, his vaccination comments at one point during training camp, the Tim Tebow stupid signing that was and what that did to your football team, I'm sure they've all been questioning it to a degree to this point. So then to add on wait, the general's not going to go back to the base with the troops? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't happen in the NFL. That doesn't. I played 8 years in the NFL, never had a coach do that. My dad, 15 years in the NFL, he never did that. It makes it look like there's a little bit of a double standard. Like, hey, you guys go back and, prepare and go home and, maybe you have to be at the facility, some of you, for rehab and workouts, but I'm going to be in here in Ohio sipping pina coladas at the bar. That's just not cool. That's not going to fly with players, And then added to the fact you're 0-4 and it's time to extra grind, not let's take a breather and relax. That makes no sense, and that's just not going to fly in an NFL locker room. So,
Context.
yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of them looking into the corner of their eye.
When you said extra grind, you were talking about working. You were talking about football players, but there's a different context.
I didn't mean his grinding in the bar. You're right.
What my man was doing in the bar. And I got to tell you, Sims, hey, he better be right. He better hope that, hey, that was somebody, it was just kind of somebody randomly I was dancing with. Hey, these things could go left too. So that there may be a story there.
Agreed.
So hey, just say I'm sorry and don't speak on it anymore. I'm sorry and just look straight ahead. Don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. Another player perspective issue I want your opinion on was this Fangio John Harbaugh beef over Lamar Jackson picking up the extra yards. And I got into it with Michael Smith on it. Smith says, hey, that's Bush League, essentially. Like, nobody does that. And I said, well, John Harbaugh thought that was important for his team. Nobody got hurt. I probably would rip, just being honest, I probably would rip him if Lamar Jackson had torn his ACL on that play or something like that, but he didn't. What's your take on, picking up that record when the game is essentially over?
Well, listen, I mean, first off, hey, John Harbaugh knows his team better than anybody else. The mantra of the Baltimore Ravens is, hey, we're the biggest, baddest bullies in the NFL. This is a little bit, what they want to be perceived at by all teams and players. They take great pride in that. Like, we're going to fight you every week. Doesn't matter, preseason too. We're going to win 19 in a row in the preseason. We're never going to give up. Running the football, of course, is an attitude and physicality thing to where, yeah, I'm sure John Harbaugh does like that stat. It looks good on Greg Roman's resume, so he's probably trying to do solid by his coaches. Again, the attitude thing. I'm with you. I would have ripped him. It's a big risk. If somebody does get hurt, everybody's going to, for lack of a better way to say it, crap on you in the media and the talking heads and go what the hell were you doing? But at the same time, I don't know. I'm not mad at John Harbaugh for it. I don't. It doesn't bother me that way. And if Vic Fangio and company didn't like it, even though it might be a little bit amateur hour, well, stop it. I don't know. It's not John Harbaugh's job to coach Vic Fangio's team. That's how I kind of look at it. And I'm not as bent out of shape about it, I guess, as some other people. I'm more like you.
All right. A couple more, then we'll let you go. One, I know you have Sunday Night Football coming up, Bills, Chiefs. That's a great game. But you also experience one of the legendary Sunday Night Football games. I mean, America was paying attention to this. Nearly 30 million people watching Patriots and Buccaneers. What did you take away from that game, whether it was a defensive approach against Tom Brady, who didn't have one of his great games, or whether it was just the Brady effect and his teammates interacting with them, former teammates? What was it from that game, or what were some things from that game that really jumped out at you?
All right, first off, I couldn't get over how welcoming Brady was to everybody before the game. Just talking to everybody and just, that to me was amazing. It really was. And that's where Brady is as cool as they come. Just outside in the tunnel, talking to, ex-coaches, ex-players, the owner, Mr. Kraft, talking to Drew Brees, saying hi to Stacey James, the head of the media department. That's where, Brady is as cool as they come. Handled his emotions properly. And I think the thing that jumped out to me about his play in the game itself is he never got impatient. He didn't go like, oh, I'm going to show everybody it was me that was the reason. I'm going to throw some lasers out here and I'm going to throw for 4 touchdown passes and really stick it to the Patriots. No, I think he understood the big picture of the football game, that the Patriots offense, is not super explosive. They were going to have a hard time moving the ball and scoring points against the Bucs. And also, I think he knew, man, the one way we do lose this game is if I do get a little careless and throw an interception and give them the short field. So I was really impressed with Brady just keeping all his emotions in check. I think the second thing after I would say that is hey, the Patriots, maybe not a Super Bowl team, but they're a damn good football team. That's the other thing I do want to say. Mac Jones played really well for the circumstances.
Really?
And the Patriots should be 2-2. They blew that Week 1 game where they outplayed the Dolphins, but I think they'll continue to get better as the season goes, and I kind of look forward to that development. But man, Brady, he's as cool as they come. There's no doubt about that. What?
Just to make sure. Gary, Chica, Courtney, I just want to make sure. Chris Sims, he did say the Patriots are a damn good football team. Did I hear that? I just want to make sure that there wasn't because we have some technical problems today, in Stanford. So maybe your words
maybe
got
I
a little
shouldn't
garbled.
say damn good football team. Maybe I should just say good football team. Like good football team. They can maybe
What do you
be a
mean
damn
they're a
good football team.
Man, they scored like 17 points a game. They've lost to the Dolphins. They lost to who else did they lose to? The Buccaneers and who else? Somebody else. Oh yeah, the Saints. They beat the Jets.
Okay,
they
so
got
it's
a win
pretty
over
good.
the Jets.
They blew the game against the Dolphins. They outplayed them. So that's where I'm not going to give up on them yet. They're not going to score 30 points a game. That's not going to happen at any point. It's going to be a whole lot of 20-17 type wins for them. That's how they're built right now, and especially with the young quarterback.
All right, there are some fact checkers out there, right? So that's some people just do that. They just fact that anything you say, they just want to say, okay, you got that one stat wrong, you got that wrong. Okay, so I'm going to go in saying this is not exactly right, but I'm in the neighborhood. So Bill Belichick, 5 years in Cleveland. If you put all of those games together, how many games is that over 5 years? 80 plus games. Throw in the playoff game, 81 games. If you throw all his games together in Cleveland, points for and points against, they're probably within 6 or 7 points. The whole shebang, 6 or 7 points. But still was 4 losing seasons. So coming close. So what? Should have won. This is what bad teams say. Bad teams say, yeah, we should have won the game. Yeah, if not for that fumble, if not for that penalty, if not for that stupid ref, if not for the element, they got all kinds of excuses. I'm not sure they're a good team, Sims. I think they may finish under 500.
Well, you think the Bucs are a good team, right? I mean, you think the Bucs are one of the best football teams in the game. And, they drove down in the pouring rain and had a chance to kick a field goal to win it.
Oh, another thing. How'd you feel about going for a 56-yard field goal in that situation? Did you like that call? I did.
I was a little surprised. Yeah, I mean, of course, with the way the rain was coming down right at that point, yeah, I thought, they might try to get one more crack, just a few more yards. But listen, Bill's well thought out, as you know, very calculated. Right. He probably thought the risk reward did not measure up in that little instance right there. So I understand that too, and I don't have any issue with him kicking the field goal there. I don't.
Right up the road from Gillette Stadium, the Red Sox, Yankees.
Hey, I gotta go. I'll see you later. What? Oh, what's that, honey? I gotta go.
Oh no, Red Sox. You're a good sport, though, man. You were a good sport. You hung in there. I started texting you in the first inning. You were all about it. And then when your guy Garrett Cole couldn't even make it through 4 innings, then you started to say, okay, this may not go our way tonight. How you feel about the Yankees? Not that game, but just the Yankees going forward. You think they should?
First off, the game. Yeah, I had some colorful language. I think in our text messages once again. Once you guys went up 3-0, I knew we were in deep crap. It was a microcosm of the whole year. Garrett Cole being a little underwhelming and not as dominant as he should be when he's making $700 million a year. And of course, Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton being the only guys that can hit on our baseball team for the most part. It was just them all year long. Crappy base running, that was all year long for the Yankees. Happens there. I mean, how stupid was that? It's 3-1 and we send the guy from first after a rocket off the Fenway wall. I'm more loyal. Yankees are my number one team in all of sports, right? I'm of course a Giants fan, but it's football, and I have a lot of relationships with other people. So there's weeks where, hey, listen, if the Giants play the 49ers, I'm going to root for the 49ers. Like, one of my best friends in the world is Kyle Shanahan. So I'm a little too, in the weeds in the sport of football. Baseball, I got no connection, so I could just be a Yankees fan. And I don't know. I guess I'm one that wouldn't mind seeing them make some changes. I'm not going to lie. I think some things have run their course, and let's do that. Let's rip off the Band-Aid and start fresh over. I'm a little pissed off about it.
Well,
as you can see.
Listen, it was good. It was good to see Yankees Red Sox have a little excitement, have a little animation.
That's right.
Again, after a little bit of a lull. Last thing, just quickly, your thought on Chiefs, Bills, and my specific question is, do you think the Bills are now on that level? Because last year in the AFC Championship game, they seemed like they were unprepared, not really ready for the challenge. How about now?
Right. I do think they're on their level. I'm not going to pick them to win. I picked the Chiefs 31-30 when I had to do my, Chris Sims Unbuttoned podcast with Mike Florio today. So I'm still going to go with the Chiefs. I do think the Bills, they're better. Their defense, phenomenal. Josh Allen, to me, Mahomes and Josh Allen are the two best players in the NFL. So I'm always excited for that. The Chiefs' defense stinks. I mean, it stinks. It really does. There's nothing positive to really say about it right now. So I do think Allen and company will have their way to a degree, but they haven't really been hitting on all cylinders on the offensive side of the ball as well. Like, the Bills are a team that I look at and go, you're a Super Bowl team. They need to trade for another receiver before the trade deadline to go all in, and I'll go, oh, you might be the best team in the AFC now. But the other thing, where it's a tough matchup for the Bills, if the Chiefs run the ball like they did last week, and I mean just be patient with it, because their O-line should be able to block anybody in football. It's one of the biggest, baddest groups of O-linemen in all of football. And like you see, when they do that, it brings up a defense and they can hit some big shots down the field, let alone Mahomes played like the most truest form of quarterback last week in a long time. He stayed in the pocket finally, stopped floating around and getting himself in trouble. He was true to his reads. And the Bills, if there's a weakness to their team, Michael Holley, it's their cover corners. I think they're less than at that position. And that's where I think it's a tough matchup for the Bills. And that's why, I think the Chiefs are going to win this one. I do, in a close one.
All right, Chris Sims, we'll check in with you next week, man. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it. And enjoy the baseball playoffs. Even though the Yankees are out, there's some good games, some really good teams. So I think you'll enjoy it. And then you can maybe look and say, oh, that guy, he should be on the Yankees. Maybe the Yankees should bring him in. Do some scouting.
I'm going to enjoy it. I'm looking forward to it. I always pay attention to the baseball playoffs, and I always enjoy being on with you, man. You the man. My best to Michael Smith, and go Tampa Rays. See you later.
All right. Okay. Nice little gut punch on the way out. I like it.